Okay, hello everyone. My name is Preet Kapadia, and today I will be going over the state design pattern for CIS 476. Okay, um, moving on right into it, let's take a look at the component and structure of a state design pattern. There are three main components, starting with the context, which defines an interface to client for interaction. So basically, it creates an interface for the state. So a state would be something like called ATM state or traffic light state versus where the context would be the actual traffic light or an ATM or a vending machine. So that's what the context would be. And then the state defines the interface for declaring what a concrete state does. So like a generic template for all the different states that you can add. In terms of a traffic light, 'cause that's where I did my demo, it would be like the traffic light state. But for and then the last component would be a concrete state, which is the actual implementation of what that state is going to do. And whoops. Um, so what that state's going to do. So that would be like the red light, green light, yellow light state of a traffic light, or the vending machine state of requesting money, requesting item, or an ATM state of requesting cash or not having cash in the machine. Yep. And then this is the generic diagram or structure for a state design pattern on the right. So next, moving on to the intent. The intent is to allow an object to change its behavior when its internal state changes. So what that means, when an ATM wants to change state from has card to verified card, or a traffic light wants to change state from a red light to a green light to a yellow light, it all happens at runtime, and it can be done um, quickly and easily managed. Um, okay, and then moving on to motivation. Motivation of a state design pattern is mainly to have less if-else statements, cleaner code. And we achieve that by creating different states. Each state has a class, so you can define whatever you want in that class for that state. And so you won't have so basically the main idea of a state pattern is to allow the object from changing its behavior without changing its class. And also by implementing this, you'll have basically cleaner code, less conditional statements, and it's easier to modify in the future. You won't have to go through and change all the logic every time. So moving on to the consequences, we can take a look at is the state pattern is limited to a finite number of states, but the main issue is that the transitions from one state to another are predefined. You can't just put more states in and then not say what state can be transitioned into another. You'd have to predefine it. So in traffic light, it's easy. The red goes to green, green goes to yellow, and yellow goes to red. So I chose my application to be the traffic light, and as I stated earlier, you could have multiple other use cases, just a vending machine, media player, ATM, but traffic light's pretty easy to understand, has three standard defined states, the red state, green state, yellow state. Next, we have the class diagram for the red state, yellow state, green state. So I first created the machine, which you can get the state, set the state, display, and change. And that's what I would use to run in my tester and create a machine object, which creates a state object. State interface is what is a blank template for all the states. So it's going to have a display state and a transition state, which takes in a machine. And then we have the three actual states, yellow state, green state, red state, which each individually have their display state set. So it displays yellow, this displays green, this displays red, and I can show you this more in the code. These are my references, and let's move on to the code demo. Okay, so starting off with the machine, We first have the get state, set state, and then the display and change. Display allows us to view what that state has or what that state needs to tell us, and then the change allows us to transition from one state to another. A state is a generic template, so all the states include a display and a transition. So here's the yellow state. It displays that there's a yellow light, and then the transition would be to go to red. And same as for the red, it displays red, and then from red the light turns green, and basically for green the light turns yellow. So here, let's run this with the test main. So I have here created a machine object which creates a new red state object, and we first start off by displaying what's in the red state. So we get red light, and then we change the state and display it again. We get green light, yellow light, red light again to go in a full loop. And that's how you can use a state diagram, a state design pattern, to make your code more efficient, more clean, and easier to modify in the future when you want to change any of the logic or the, the contents of each of the states. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can email me at peakpadia@umich.edu. Thanks.